To the D. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag, and you bet your ass it's wonderful to have you along for the ride. Combine workouts start in Indianapolis today. You got defensive linemen, you got linebackers, you got kickers. For those people that are ready to move on from Jake Elliott, Nick Sirianni, I mentioned the media tour, the circuit that both he, Nick Sirianni, and Howie Roseman were on 2 days ago with the week ago press conference that got released finally. And then they both had press conferences at the Combine, as they do every year. And then Rich Eisen, Mike Florio, various other outlets. Well, Nick Sirianni went on Rich Eisen yesterday, and I couldn't help it. I gave it an old clickety-click, and I watched the whole thing. It's about 20 minutes, and he gets asked, as you would assume, about A.J. Brown and the future of A.J. Brown. This was almost worse. If you're in the camp of you want A.J. Brown back, I thought Nick Sirianni's answer was worse. Like, I can't guarantee A.J. Brown being back, that's fine, because he can't. But then when you shift to, hey, is A.J. Brown coming back? Let me tell you something. I love A.J. Brown. Like, that sounds like a farewell letter. And I'm in the camp of, I actually want A.J. Brown to be back. When you shift from I can't guarantee, that's just stating the obvious. And he did reiterate that later. But he started with, I love A.J. Brown. It's like, oh, that's how you start a breakup. So you start with the positive. I think you're great. And then but here's all the things that this doesn't work. So when he started with, I love A.J. Brown, and the team loves A.J. Brown, and everyone in the locker room loves A.J. Brown, and he goes on to hint at things that Howie Roseman has said in the past about A.J. Brown, about how A.J. Brown was elected a captain by this team. He wasn't elected by me. He wasn't voted on by the coaches. It was by the team. The team loved the public perception of A.J. Brown is much different than the locker room's perception of A.J. Brown. Okay, fine. It just leads me down the path of it ain't going to work out. More so. I still think he's back. I would put it at about 75 to 80% that A.J. Brown's back before hearing that comment. I'll knock it down to the 60-40 that A.J. Brown's back. 60% he is back, 40% he's not back. Nick Sirianni also talked about Jalen Hurts, and he said the quote, I love when these guys find the way to answer these questions and they generally just stick with it. But basically what he told Rich Eisen yesterday was exactly what he said at the end of the season about Jalen Hurts and changing the offense. I argued with my dear friend Derek Gunn, not necessarily with his report about Jalen not wanting to do different things during the season last year, not wanting to expand the playbook, wanting to stay well within his comfort zone. Kevin Patullo, the Eagles coaching staff, people within the then NovaCare complex growing frustrated with Jalen Hurts because he won't do other things. He's got a big ego. He realizes that he's got the team held over a barrel with all that guaranteed money on that deal. So he's going to do what he wants. That was the report from Derek Gunn. That wasn't Derek Gunn's opinion. That's what people within the complex told Derek Gunn. He told the good people. People in the complex apparently told Diana Rossini. She told the good people. All right? I'm not going to be angry at either reporter for things that they get from within the house. But here's my issue with it. It making no sense, okay? You mean to tell me, and this is what I actually loved about Nick Sirianni yesterday. He said a lot of the same things that I've been saying on this show for months, okay? Even early in the season last year. Jalen Hurts is a guy that will throw and run for a lot of yards in 2022, be the runner-up in the MVP, okay? They go to a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they lose it. Then in 2023, they have a different offensive coordinator, though a guy that Jalen Hurts has known for a long time, and it didn't work out, unfortunately. Yes, mainly because of the defense, but it didn't work out as the bottom line, and Jalen Hurts was turning the football over at an alarming rate. So then you get Kellen Moore back in here. You try to do some different things, and you go, wait, whoa. Let's focus on the run. And Jalen Hurts steps aside. So in 2022, you do a lot of winning. Jalen Hurts does whatever it takes to win. He's got to run the football. He runs the football. Jalen Hurts has to air it out. He airs it out. 2024, you want to get back on track. You have Saquon Barkley behind this offensive line. Jalen gladly says, oh, all I have to do is not turn the football over and we can dominate with this run game. Easy peasy. Historic running game. Jalen is not the star of the show. It's been described at the time. It was described at the time that Jalen Hurts was in the sidecar. Yeah, and then when they needed him to take over in the driver's seat, he became the Super Bowl MVP. So when you tell me going into last year with Kevin Patullo as the offensive coordinator that Jalen Hurts all of a sudden doesn't want to do different things, that doesn't make sense to me. Because he's willing to step out of the limelight and let somebody else cook, to use that expression, in Saquon Barkley. In 2022, geez, you have Miles Sanders, you have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, all eat in that offense with Jalen Hurts spreading the football around beautifully, I might add. And in case I didn't mention it, I'll mention it again. The most valuable player, if you want to call it, in the NFC, second most valuable player in the NFL to the historically incredible Patrick Mahomes. That's a pretty nice run in 2022. And then it unfortunately hits a wall in 2023, 2024. They get back and they win the Super Bowl. Oh, Jalen plays in the second Super Bowl. Yeah, that's pretty fun. And then this past year, it was not great. And in this past year, you had an offensive line that was very much banged up. You had an offense that was apparently going through multiple transitions throughout the year. None of it worked, unfortunately. And it's all supposed to be Jalen's fault? Like, I almost feel like even though I'm a Jalen guy, I'm a Jalen fan, I don't question whether or not, oh, is he the guy anymore? I don't. Like, don't make me have to say nice things about Jalen Hurts simply because people are knocking him down way too many pegs for his own struggles in this past season. But one thing I just can't get behind is the idea that he is being over alpha about what the offense is. I can't get behind Carson Wentz 2.0 because that just doesn't seem like a guy that would gladly step aside. I don't see Jalen Hurts after let's say it was Jalen Hurts and not Carson Wentz. I can't see Jalen Hurts getting hurt, having an MVP type season, and then at the end of the year, he gets hurt. Nick Foles takes over, wins the Super Bowl, and then the next year, Jalen Hurts goes, I don't want to do any of that Nick Foles stuff. I can't picture Jalen Hurts getting hurt and then a veteran like Darren Sproles telling him, hey, man, stop sulking, and then those two have an argument over it. No, I picture Jalen Hurts to be laser flipping focused on getting back and being the best version of himself that he can be and trying to help this team win as much as he can. Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz to me just are not the same thing. So when I hear Carson Wentz 2.0, I go, that's a box that you already know and you want to put somebody else in it because it's easy. You've already done the homework on that one thing. So if I say this other thing is exactly the same, I can just regurgitate my old hot takes. It makes zero sense to me when you look at it from a 50,000-foot view. So getting back to the interview that Nick Sirianni did with Rich Eisen yesterday, he got asked about Jalen Hurts and whether or not Jalen Hurts was holding back in the offense. And Nick, now this is all the way back at the end of the year. I'm going to go back at the end of the year to give you what Nick Sirianni said then when he was asked about whether or not Jalen Hurts is willing to expand the playbook.
Yeah, I think you saw this year that he's open to do a bunch. You know, we were under center probably more than we have been. Different motions, different things like that. Here's what I'll say: like Jalen always wants to do. Like Jalen's proved this to everybody that he'll do whatever it takes to win football games, and sometimes that's throwing it a bunch, sometimes that's running it a bunch, sometimes it's him handing it off a bunch. And he'll do whatever it takes to win. All I've ever felt from Jalen and all I ever know from Jalen is that the man will do anything he can do to win football games. And
that is all I want in a quarterback. That's all I want. And so that was at the end of the season. So now fast forward, a month and a half. And he's on with Rich Eisen, and Rich Eisen asks him the same question. There's talk about Jalen not wanting to do things. And I love Rich Eisen. But anyway, Nick Sirianni goes, yeah, I'm kind of tired of this narrative. Like, I really hate that this narrative even exists. Like, Jalen will do whatever it takes to win football games. And then that's the point where Nick Sirianni started saying a lot of the same things I've been saying over the last month and a half. Like, whoa. This is a guy that literally stepped out of the spotlight. Let Saquon Barkley shine. Let this offensive line shine. Let Jeff Stoutland even get more shine, essentially. And now people want to talk about him being selfish? I don't think so. Like, I don't really get a huge set. I know some people look at Jalen Hurts and they listen to his press conferences, and one of my favorite things that people say about him, and it makes me laugh, is that he speaks like a fortune cookie. That's pretty funny. I always say he speaks like he is the motivational poster in your high school guidance counselor's office. Guy standing on the peak of a mountain, never quit climbing, something like that. I had a purpose before anybody had an opinion. Oh, it's so good. So delicious after my General So's. Anyway, I find it funny. He speaks like a fortune cookie. And people look at that as if it's disingenuous, as if he's rehearsing lines. That's him, man. From people that I talk to that know him a hell of a lot better than the few meetings I've had with him, like in passing, that's how he is. That's what he believes. And I know that's not exactly the most Philly guy type attitude to have, to speak like you're in a fortune or writing fortune cookies, but that's him. I don't know too many people like him, but that's him. So when he's up there, I know some people listen to it and they go, this is all just BS. I listen to it and go, this is how this guy really operates. So when he talks about throughout the season last year, I was more under center. I've asked to be more under center. And then it comes out he doesn't want to be under center. Well, he just was, and it actually worked out well for everybody. Like in the Vikings game, for instance, why don't we see a little bit more of that? I don't want to throw over the middle. Then we see him throw over the middle a little bit more. He does it with success. Oh, he doesn't want to throw over the middle, though. But he's doing it well. Again, this makes no sense, okay? So this upcoming season, Sean Mannion is going to present some new things. Nick Sirianni apparently has been really hitting the film. Another thing he said with Rich Eisen is at the end of the season, he's watching film, of course, on college prospects. Guys are doing that throughout the season. He's focused on the season, but his whole staff, the Eagles' whole front office staff is breaking down film and all that. But you also look at the season, the film from your own team, and what the hell happened. He's also looking at Sean McVay's offense. He's looking at Kyle Shanahan's offense. He's looking at what the Green Bay Packers did last year. And he's going to be responsible, apparently, for a lot of the passing game that the Eagles are going to be putting up here next year. He wants Sean Mannion, according to Nick Sirianni, he wants Sean Mannion to take over more of the run game responsibilities. All right. Now, Sean Mannion is going to be calling plays, but with influence, as you would assume, from Nick Sirianni. This is a whole new thing that we're going to have to learn while watching a Philadelphia Eagle offense in the upcoming season. This is a whole new thing that the Philadelphia Eagles have to learn in order to run it. They did talk about during this interview yesterday with Rich Eisen about how the terminology, some of the terminology is going to be the same. It's not a completely different overhaul in terms of terminology, but in terms of scheme, plays, getting guys in space, blocking schemes at the line of scrimmage for your offensive line and whoever your tight end is going to be. Yeah, that's going to be different. Where Jalen Hurts is going to be lined up, mostly under center, more play action, more turning your back to the defense. These are going to be all new things for Jalen. But when it comes to terminology, there's going to be a lot of things that are the same. So whatever Sean Mannion learned while he was in Green Bay, whatever he's learned throughout his career, whatever he's called it, it's going to change in some areas. And Nick Sirianni said the reason for that is because you want your quarterback to get to the line of scrimmage and instinctively know what to check to or know what to call. You don't want him to have to go through the Rolodex of new terms when he doesn't have to, especially when he's looking around and he has Devontae Smith, most likely still has A.J. Brown, has Saquon Barkley behind him, has the same offensive line. You want all that to be lock, stock, and ready to party. I I know that there's growing concern with people that we haven't heard from Sean Mannion yet. I said mistakenly, I corrected myself the following week, but after Sean Mannion got hired, I said, I'd be, look forward to hear from him and all that stuff. It doesn't happen. This is not what the Eagles do. Vic Fangio, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the Eagles are packing it in. Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman are up there at the table there, and they're answering questions about everything. And Adam Schefter, during the press conference, looking back on it, you have to think that Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman were probably like, dude, seriously? We're literally doing the press conference now. You got to put it out there that Vic Fangio is coming to Philly. And during the press conference, it breaks that Vic Fangio is leaving Miami and working on a deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. Great. Thanks. If you're Nick Sirianni and you're Howie Roseman, that's probably what you're thinking. But it was literally the end of the year press conference that we learned this was happening. We didn't hear from Vic Fangio. We didn't hear from him at the Combine, certainly. We didn't hear from him at the draft, certainly. We heard about him maybe rookie camp, probably mini camp. That was like, by the way, I'm Vic Fangio. I used to coach the Philadelphia Stars. I used to crush a basket of chicken wings from the Palladium. It's good to be back in Philly. Go Phils. We didn't get that until like mini camp. So when are we going to hear from Sean Mannion? Eagles practice. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say the word practice. The Eagles' general routine when it comes to a new coordinator is they don't talk until there's practice. I want to hear from Sean Mannion. I want to hear what's going on. I want to see if he's going to have a first press conference that's like Nick Sirianni's, or he's going to have a commanding presence about him that makes you go, oh, this guy's a future head coach. Like, I got to be honest, when I would listen to Shane Steichen, he didn't sound like just a coordinator. He sounded like a coach. You're not going to like this. Jonathan Gannon. He sounded like a coach. He sounded like a head coach. I can understand why he interviews really well. I can understand why people might listen to him and go, this guy's got the answers. And it turns out it wasn't so good in Arizona, unfortunately for him. So those are the main things I took out of a 20-minute conversation with Nick Sirianni and Rich Eisen. Now, the other part of this is that, again, I'll go back to this word detail. We hear this word detail a lot. Oh, the detail with Sean Mannion. Oh, the detail with Nick Sirianni. Like, detail is a big thing, right? I do find this interesting. And people might rip Sirianni for this. I kind of admire it. And it's sort of along the lines of the rock, paper, scissors Nick Sirianni quote during COVID when they were trying to find a way to see how competitive these players were. I loved the idea that Nick was just trying to find ways to see if these guys were competitive on a Zoom call. So, all right, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I think that's very creative. I think that's very smart. It might sound silly, but good for Nick Sirianni. And the reason I bring it up now is because one of the things he said to Rich Eisen that they apparently during their, like, while they're getting mic'd up and the cameras are getting ready and everyone's getting ready there at the Combine and they're sitting in the chairs there and get the microphones adjusted, they're talking. I mean, that's what happens. And they started talking about Michigan basketball. And one of the first questions of the interview wasn't even from Rich Eisen. It was from Nick Sirianni asking Rich Eisen what his foul shot routine was. The context was they were talking about Sean Mannion just being committed to the routine and detail and all that. And he always refers to it when he always references foul shooting. They have a hoop in the auditorium at the Jefferson Health Training Complex. Got to get used to saying that. So that to me is very interesting. And he asked Rich Eisen, he says, what was your routine at the foul line? And Rich Eisen, blank stare. And Nick goes, mine was one bounce, breathe, let it rip. What was yours? And Rich Eisen's like, I don't remember. Like, I have no idea. Why are you asking me my foul shot routine? Like, when's the last time you played competitive basketball at all? 8th grade, high school? He doesn't remember his routine, but that is something that sticks out in Nick Sirianni's head when it comes to just trying to decide whether somebody's competitive nature, somebody's routine, somebody's attention to detail, and whether or not they can find themselves a routine. And he attributed that, or at least referenced that when it came to Sean Mannion paying attention to detail. He didn't say what Sean Mannion's routine was, if Sean Mannion even ever played basketball. I don't know. But I imagine he was a football player, basketball player in high school maybe. But the attention to detail, the routine, the rhythm of it, the concentration, these are all things that are always on the mind of Nick Sirianni. Whether you love him or hate him, whether you think he's a doofus that it gets a great schedule year after, or excuse me, a great roster year after year, whatever you think, these are the things that have made him a head football coach and a guy that's coached 2 Super Bowls, won 1. So that's pretty damn good. Also off to a historic start in his NFL head coaching career. So again, today, defensive linemen, linebackers, kickers. Today, I do think the Eagles are going to be in for an edge rusher. General interior defensive lineman, I don't think so. Kickers could be interesting. Tomorrow, you got defensive backs and tight ends for Friday. That'll be interesting as well. And then Saturday, they know what they're doing. They got the sexy positions there. Saturday, they have it all teed up for quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, and then Sunday, offensive linemen. My 2 days of note, as far as what I think are the biggest deals for the Eagles, Friday with tight ends, and Sunday, offensive linemen. But, of course, I'll be watching Saturday. 40 times galore. Get excited. Hey, you're Philadelphia Phillies, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. I hope you're sitting down. I hope if you're in your morning routine, you're not shaving, because I'm about to shock you with this news in case you didn't see it already. Philadelphia Phillies won a spring training game yesterday. They didn't lose. They didn't tie like they did against the Nationals. They won. They beat the Detroit Tigers yesterday 5-3. Of course, that's called sarcasm, but they did win. Alec Boehm had an RBI or 2 in that game. Scolded one up the middle that couldn't get handled there at second base by the Tigers. So Alec Boehm came up with that, 2 RBIs in yesterday's game. Bryce Harper had an RBI and a base knock. Justin Crawford took the 0-for with a strikeout, unfortunately, 0-for-3. He did make a nice running grab to his left and hit into the wall. So that was good to see from Justin Crawford. Brad Keller got the start for them. 1 strikeout, 1 inning. But even bigger than the news of the win. Even bigger than the news of the win. During an in-game interview yesterday, Rob Thompson revealed the rotation for today, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Get excited again. Taijuan Walker pitches, makes his spring debut today against the Nationals. Tomorrow, before he goes off to play for the Paisans, Aaron Nola makes his debut against the Marlins tomorrow. Christopher Sanchez goes on Saturday against the Blue Jays, and Andrew Painter gets his first spring training action. I believe it's in 2 years, because I think it was 2 years ago around this time. It was like Andrew Painter pitched, and he's got a little tightness. We're going to see how he does in a couple of days. A couple of days turned out to be Tommy John surgery. But Andrew Painter set to make his spring training debut Sunday against the New York Yankees. I will be sitting in front of my TV. It is going to be broadcast. I think all these games are actually going to be broadcast on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Whether or not they have the home announcers or not, I can't tell you. Tom McCarthy was out in the lawn in the outfield in Clearwater yesterday, just chilling, taking his time off, enjoying. Coming to work on his day off, this guy. Love him. But this is the way it's going to work. Sunday is at 1 o'clock, 1:05 against the New York Yankees. And I am very excited to watch that start. I mean, he'll pitch an inning, so I'm excited for an inning. But he had a terrible year last year, Andrew Painter. Struggled with location, struggled with consistency. I'm going to tell you what you've heard a million times in case you're the person that hasn't, but you usually need a year after the Tommy John surgery to really get back to what you were before. So hopefully that all happens. But, I mean, this is a guy that is supposed to be an anchor in your rotation. This is a number one stuff guy. The Phillies pitching staff clicks into high gear this year, and, man, the sky is the limit. But it is still going to come down for most people, myself included, to whether or not the Philadelphia Phillies can actually, hit in the clutch or at all in the postseason. That's what it's going to come down to. I'm not a big Alec Boehm hater by any means, but if you're going to have a 4-hole hitter, yeah, certainly you want him hitting well over 300 with runners in scoring position. You want to have a guy on second base. Yeah, you want to have a guy in scoring position with 2 outs. Alec Boehm's been pretty clutch throughout his career in that situation. But you know what else you want? You want the long ball. You want the instant offense from that spot. That's just not the way the Phillies lineup is built, especially with Alec Boehm as your cleanup hitter. I'd love to see the Phillies be able to upgrade there. And I'll continue to say this. You can't tell me in the offseason that you have a Bo Bichette-sized problem in your lineup, and then you line up Bo Bichette to fix it, and then he's not here. And you know what that leaves behind? A Bo Bichette-sized problem. All right. My wife, for Christmas, I got the kids little scooters. They sit on the scooters, and they go really fast. It's not like standing scooters, but it's like little carts. They're like little carts, okay? And the kids really enjoy riding them in the house. And you know what? Hey, have at it, kids. Have your fun. But you know what? It's happened on a couple of times? A couple of holes in the drywall, okay? I walk up to the hole in the drywall and I go to patch it. I've gotten really good at patching drywall, by the way. So anyway, I go up and I have I got the spackle. I got the extra piece of drywall that I'm going to use to patch. I got the tape and all that stuff. And I look at the hole in the wall and I have all the stuff. And then I just throw all the stuff away. Guess what's still there? The hole in the wall. Now, this analogy, Bo Bichette is the stuff to fix it. Then that goes away. What do you got? Still a hole in the wall. The Phillies still have a hole in their lineup. They need more out of that cleanup spot. They need somebody who is clutch in that cleanup spot. Now, Alec Boehm certainly can hit in the clutch. He can certainly hit with runners in scoring position, but when it comes to the long ball, not so much. Not so much. And he, too, goes through epic slumps throughout the season. We've seen it before. We've seen a lot of these guys just go on these awful 0 for 22, 0 for 24, 0 for 28. And it's just, oh, my God, when is he going to pull himself out of this? But I wouldn't even be saying this if it wasn't for the fact that the Phillies really telegraphed their offseason when you think about it. I know they've taken a lot of heat for not getting players, and that's true. But, I mean, they told you at the end of last season what was happening with Nick Castellanos. And as I told you yesterday, when I was listening to Howie Roseman speak about A.J. Brown, whether that be in print media, reading it, when I was listening to him at his press conference, when I was listening to him on any of the other outlets that he went on with, you would think A.J. Brown was a godsend to this team. And, oh, man, we love it. Everyone loves it. He's so good. He's great. The players love him. Perception outside, not the same as inside. He's a great player. You don't get rid of great players. Ugh. That is the opposite of Dave Dombrowski and Nick Castellanos. At the end of the season, you don't say, hey, Nick Castellanos under contract. What's going on there? Oh, we'll see. All right. Deuces, Nick Castellanos. Phillies have telegraphed it. Phillies tell you that they got a huge hole in their lineup, that they might not have a lot of confidence in maybe Bryson Stott anymore. They might not have a lot of confidence in Alec Boehm anymore. And Bo Bichette is available to play third or second for you. Or in a crazy world, maybe Turner moves to second base. You can't tell me you got a Bo Bichette-sized problem and then not get Bo Bichette. But that's the way the cookie unfortunately crumbled. So, look, if you're watching this season, you go, you need more pop in your lineup, especially in the 4-hole. Alec Boehm ain't it. The Phillies agree with you. They told you that. It ain't good, man. It ain't good. So, this season, the number one thing, look, I think the Phillies have a really good baseball team. But the fact of the matter remains, just as I always do it, I'll make the comparison again. The Phillies and the Sixers are in the same boat. There's been a lot of overpromising and a lot of underdelivering. The regular season is for sheer entertainment. It's not 82 games like it is with the Sixers. It's 162 with the Phillies, as we all know. I'm going to enjoy the ride this year. I'm going to enjoy, hopefully, watching Andrew Painter progress. I'm going to enjoy watching Zach Wheeler get back to 100% healthy and hopefully the form that we saw in seasons prior. Crossing my fingers, this is an up year for Aaron Nola, not a down year for Aaron Nola. And I'm going to be looking at Justin Crawford in center field, trying to prove that he's a big leaguer. Adolis Garcia, what he could do for this lineup from the right side as well. If he can mash for you and not be a 227 hitter like he was last year, then we'll be pretty set. But it's all going to come down to what they do in the postseason. It's all going to come down to the confidence you have in the ball club going into the postseason. And whether or not you're going to have Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, and Bryce Harper combined for like a 211 batting average in the postseason, because that ain't going to cut it again. Especially when you have other teams like the Mets and the Dodgers just doing whatever the hell they damn well please in the offseason. So that's what I'll be crossing my fingers for in the offseason. Oh, excuse me, as training camp, as spring training goes on in the regular season. As for the Phillies' schedule today, they got the Nationals 105, and it is Taijuan Walker in the bump for them today. Hey, your Philadelphia Flyers lost yesterday. Welcome back from the Olympics. 3-1 loss to the Washington Capitals. JVR's brother lit the lamp for the Capitals. Did I say Nationals? The Capitals in yesterday's game. Vladar was in net, and I watched, when you watch international play at such a high level, and then you go to this, it is such a drop-off. It is such a horrible drop-off, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't, but man, you go from, wow, hockey's amazing, too. After the game, I believe it was Rick Tocchet just talking about how he loved the way his team came out and played like the first half of the first period. And then it was pretty much, that fell off. And almost amazed that it was only a 3-1 loss. It was 2-0, and then the Capitals got an empty netter, unfortunately. But that's the way that one shook out. Sixers back at it tonight from their road trip where they went 2-1 in their 3-game road trip. Joel Embiid, I believe, listed as questionable going into tonight's game. I was a little concerned after the win over the Pacers that Joel Embiid just, like Kate Scott was literally teeing up a Joel Embiid interview, and you could see Joel Embiid on the court in Indianapolis with the PR person from the Sixers just going like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, no. Like kind of like waving him off. Embiid probable for tonight's game. So there you go. Embiid probable tonight. But he's just like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, you just see him, I don't even say adamantly, but assertively not doing the interview. So that just made me go, why? And then he didn't talk after the game. Okay. At least I didn't see anything from him talking after the game. That was a little concerning, but to see him probable is a little bit of a sigh of relief right there that Joel Embiid will be up and running for this game tonight against the Miami Heat, which, by the way, very much does matter as far as the standings go in the Eastern Conference of the NBA and playoff seeding right now for your 10-9-8 76ers. Sixers go into this game 32-26 on the season. The Miami Heat enter this game just a game and a half behind the 2.5 games behind the Sixers. They are 31-28. They're in the 8th seed right now and in the play-in tournament in the Eastern Conference, while the Sixers are a half game above the Orlando Magic. Did the Magic play last night? Did they actually play last night? The Magic? No, that was the 1-0 win over the, or excuse me, the 1-point win over the Lakers. Okay, they did not play last night. That makes a hell of a lot more sense. All right. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARS. You get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Wait a minute, did this just happen? What? Damn it. I just told you guys this yesterday. Missing something after the show is a horrible feeling. And I don't know why I'm going on that when I should just go on this. Does this actually happen? Hold on. Waiting for it. What the hell? I'm seeing in the Sean Kilroy trade. Eagles trade Tanner McKee to the Jets for the 2026 fourth round pick. Really? I mean, who has it? Because I'm trying to. Shefty doesn't have it. Boy. Well, this is what you do. We do a live show. Things happen. You know what I mean? Things are popping. No, I don't want to search me. How do computers work? All right. Anyway. That's not his name. Fat fingers. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Was Tanner McKee traded? Badlands. Sean Gillespie. Oh, that's a mock draft suggestion. What the hell is happening? Okay, cool. Thank you. Jeez Louise. All right, yeah, I just glanced at the chat, just saw that comment. All right. Sean Kilray, you make me I'm coming home. All right, anyway. That's great. That's great. Thanks everybody in the chat on that one. But anyway, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARS to get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat check. Or today for me, a landmine. Minefield. That's what it is. Okay. Rye, what's going on? Damn right. We got this. Got the Central Time start time today. Scoozy. Morning, everyone. Good morning, Sean Gillespie. April. Hello. That's the best picture I've seen of Sirianni. Looks like he stopped drinking alcohol and is actually thinking. Huh. That's the Sirianni thinker. Philly Magic. Never watched the Flyers game. Turn it on just to watch 4 Capitals score on 6 Flyers. Won't be doing that again. Yeah. Not great. Not great. Jason A, hello. Jason A, cup of coffee. Enjoy. Jalen has tried different things his entire football career from college to now. It has helped him build his incredible mental toughness, says Sean Gillespie. Sean, I concur. Furthermore, Carson Wentz has everything but mental toughness. Thank you. Not in the same boat. Jason A. Doug Peterson admitted they drafted Jalen to be a starter eventually. Maybe they were already tired of Wentz after the 2019 season because he kept getting hurt. It's very possible. What I find very interesting about Jalen Hurts getting drafted is at the time, everyone was like, why the hell would you draft a quarterback? You just signed Carson Wentz to this big, huge, mega Kajunga deal. And then people were like, just because they drafted a quarterback doesn't mean that there's a competition. Yeah, it does. So let's live in this world for a second. And this is a world that I don't entertain. This isn't my thought, but this is other people have thrown this out there. Oh, the Eagles need to draft a quarterback early to give Jalen Hurts a kick in the butt. If that's the best player and they do trade a backup and they don't have a backup, I mean, Sam Howell, I guess. I don't know. But if that's the best player on the board, you take him. If that's who will make your team better, you take him. I don't think that's going to be the case in this draft. They don't need a quarterback. You could get a backup on the free agent market. I don't want the Eagles to take a quarterback because I know what that means. If there's somebody phenomenal available, if there's another Jalen Hurts there, then my, oh my, you take him. Okay. But I don't think that's going to be the case. But if you do draft somebody that early, it doesn't mean there's a competition. Yeah, it's exactly what it means. It's exactly what it means. Jason, team, Carson, Sean Kilrain, hello again. I never liked Carson. So many Eagles fans were like Wenzelmania. Well, he was amazing. He was his first year as a starter, playing like a 10-year vet, all the stuff that we talked about. It was great. But there was just something. The thing that I always found puzzling about the Carson Wentz thing was in college, he was playing for a powerhouse. Like, he missed 8 games his junior or senior year, and his team was 8-0 in that run. Like, that just jumped out to me as strange. Like, if he's so great, maybe it's not that, but the team is great. So that I just found interesting. And obviously coming from a lower end school, I wasn't impressed with the college stuff. And he never got a B. I'm like, okay. The things that people were bragging about with Carson Wentz, I didn't get. The thing that impressed me was how he played. He played phenomenally well. And then oh boy, did that deteriorate rather quickly. Tanner McKee could be a trade piece. Wouldn't mind it. Tanner McKee for a 4th is the trade proposal by Sean Kilrain. Jason A saying no thanks. Jason A, as disappointed as I am with the Phillies, I'm happy they're starting again. So am I. No matter what. Especially with the winter we've had, it's just like, spring training. It's just such a relief. And plus that every day, the Phillies are there. That's what one of the things I just love about baseball is that it's not, once a week. It's not 2 or 3 times a week. It's generally speaking 6 to 7 times a week. You're watching the Phils. Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of T-Mac, I'm getting you're getting a cameo from T-Mac? I'm sure that's phenomenal. T-Mac's the man. Honestly, like, just one of the best guys. I'll tell you a quick story on T-Mac. Before a game, I had my little cousin who was doing a project for school in the press box with me, and he got approval. I went through all the whatever. It was fine. And I brought him into the booth maybe an hour or so before the game, and T-Mac was just chilling, talking to everybody. And I brought him in, and man, he could not have been nicer to my little cousin. Like, just engaging him in conversation, not just leaving him up to like lead every conversation or topic or anything like that. He just could not have been nicer. And every interaction I've ever had with him, with Tom McCarthy, or any interaction I've ever heard of anyone interacting with Tom McCarthy, just the best. He's absolutely the best. Very genuine person. Bobby Wagner, free agent. Would you sign him for a tackling machine? How old is Bobby Wagner now? I know he was just playing for the Commanders. And by the way, if I'm being real, Sean, because I was in baseball mode when I saw that, my first thought was Billy Wagner. What? Yeah, I know he's a free agent. He's also a Hall of Famer. Like, he's coming back. How old is Bobby Wagner? Is he 35? 35 years old. He'll be 36 when the season starts. That doesn't to be honest with you, no, to answer the question, I would not sign him. You got Zach Bond, you got a decision to make with Nicole B. Dean, Jahad Campbell. I would not sign Bobby Wagner. Sean Gillespie, off target Farzi, your hair looking good today. Thank you. Pretty much a fresh shave. Jason, they can't trade till March 11th. Yeah, the new league year. But when I just saw it up there, I was like, wait a minute. What happened? Bless his heart. Thank you. Thank you, April. The John Lovitch tickets list. Thank you. That's the voice in my head. Thank you. Thank you. I think I've highlighted that before. Oh, he's turning 60. Feel free to record a birthday shout out too. Oh, there you go. What's your father's name, April? Let me know your father's name. Oh, wait, one more up here. Ferrado, what's going on? I want no influence from Nick, but I've accepted he will be. Except he'll have influence as long as he's here. Just call limited amount of hitches, please. Scheme more players open. There we go. Stepdad's name is Tony. Okay, here we go. Ready? 3, 2. Tony! What's up? Mark, out of here. First off, thank you for being such a wonderful stepdad to our good friend April. You're doing a bang-up job. You really are. You're the best. Happy birthday, Tony. And scene. There we go. Now everyone else is now Jason A is doing a cameo for April's stepdad, Tony. There we go. Love it. You guys are the best. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Later today, noon, Locked On Eagles Squad show with plenty more Eagles content. And the guys just flipping and flopping when it comes to whether or not A.J. Brown's back or not. We'll talk about that and more on Locked On Eagles Squad show. This is the Farzy Show. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Back with you guys tomorrow. See you guys then. Have a great rest of your day.